So having too much information is making you a worse investor. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly why you need less information to make yourself a better investor. So remember, this is according to my own research. Please go and do your own work. This is not financial advice. I do have a free newsletter. Link to that will be in the description if you want to check it out. Look, most people, when it comes to investing, are a jack of all trades, and a master of none. I think that's such a good frame. You cannot do 3 things or 4 things or 5 things really well at the same time. And I think a really good example is workout splits. You can't do strength training, endurance training, and fighting, to maximize those results. So you can't be saying to yourself, I'm going to compete in a bodybuilding show. I'm also going to run a marathon. I'm also going to fight in a charity boxing fight. They're all 3 completely different things, different, recovery, different nutrition's required. If you're doing the strength training, you might want, more calories, and most of that might be protein. If you're doing endurance, it might be most carbohydrates. If you're doing fighting, you might want a bit less and slightly different, approach to it. So you can't optimize for loads of things at once. So I think that's a really good thing, and it's the same when it comes to investing. And a good example as well here is a Premier League footballer can also be a professional bodybuilder. So if you're going to be elite at something, you can't do 2 things at once unless you're a retired professional footballer and start injecting yourself with steroids, right? That's not the case. 2 completely different skills. And every approach requires, a different mindset, a different time frame, different signals. So you've got to think to yourself, okay, cool, what is the one style I'm going to master? Because I'm consuming a lot of content on the internet, I'm watching this stuff, I'm reading this, I don't know what to do. Just say to yourself, pick one thing and stick with it. So yeah, you can only optimize for one style. The part in bodybuilding does not exist at the elite level. You cannot be out every night and then expect to be beating, C-bump on the bodybuilding stage. You need recovery, you need sleep, you need nutrition. So if you are going to be an elite bodybuilder, you're not going to be able to go to every party or every event, right? You're going to have to, be watching your calories, drinking your water, not drinking alcohol, and put that into investing. Like, you can't be the amazing party boy. Let's say party boy is the fundamental analyst, and then let's say the technical analyst is the bodybuilder. You can't do both really well at the same time. One requires deep research into that earnings, cash flows, and valuations. The other requires reading price action and structure. So the criteria for those decision making is different, and you want to be a master at least one of them. So that's I think a really good frame to have. You may be watching stuff on the internet which is really conflicting. There's a lot of people who are fundamental analysts, a lot of people are technical analysts, a lot of people do neither, right? And you want to be kind of thinking, okay, cool, what's that one style I want to master? And just do that, and make sure all the reading or the content you're consuming is about that one style. Now, I would add, I think it's actually good to take in bits of all the styles, if I'm going to be completely honest. So I think fundamental analyst stuff, like, I still like to listen to it, and I still like to think, oh, okay, cool, that's interesting, but I don't go and act upon it. So I think if you are consuming stuff, you don't want to consume too much content as well, because it can be a waste of time. It can be made redundant. You almost want to consume technicals and think, okay, cool, that's my learning. Fundamentals is maybe a different view, because I think you do want to have an open-minded approach. But yeah, you just got to commit to one style, because that's what really compounds. The person who picks one style and goes deep in it for years builds a real edge, and you will feel more at ease because you'll be making that progress because you picked one thing and it will compound. And look, your source of information should reflect your style. So if you're a high time frame investor, your information source should be high time frame focus. Consuming, day trading content, even swing trading, if you want to talk like an hour or 4-hour chart, is not as good. And maybe more of a macro newsletter could be better. So you want to, okay, cool, this is the style, what information I'm going to consume to pick that style. But I would still leave 5%. I know I'm kind of contradicting myself here, but I would leave 5% to think, okay, cool, I'm going to listen to that and interpret that and see what they're thinking, see what ideas they're thinking of, because that will, in my opinion, open your mind up. And you want to always have an open mind when it comes to this stuff, and you want to have these really different perspectives. So look, what too many sources actually does. So every source has a different view and agenda. One analyst says buy, another says sell, a podcast, guest says hold, a YouTube video says a crash is coming. None of them are necessarily wrong, right? Like, these could all happen, but following all of them means you're just gonna, think, okay, cool, should I buy, should I sell, should I do this, should I do that? Ultimately, as I said earlier, it becomes redundant. So following too many things, but you want to have one thing and stick to that, and you almost want to get away from the fact of this is saying buy, this is saying sell. You never want to speak in absolutes, but you want to kind of think, okay, cool, that's an interesting opinion. That's an interesting opinion. This is what I think, and that's what you want to do. So you want to interpret the data that way, because they all have different views and agendas. Too much content creates paralysis, not confidence. So as I mentioned earlier, the more you consume, the harder the decision becomes. You have more data points, more opinions, and more scenarios to weigh up. And that does not improve investing. It delays it and it creates inaction, right? So including this video, right? So watching this YouTube video about investing is not, going to be super helpful. I just want it to be frame yourself to give you maybe a kick up the backside to think, okay, cool, I need to pick one style and stick with it. Hopefully it's a bit more of a wake-up call. Content gives you ideas, but it doesn't give you conviction, right? So listening to me talk is going to give you ideas and think, okay, cool, maybe I should implement this, maybe I should do that. And then you go create that conviction, all right? That's what you want to be doing. And the investor who reads one source deeply beats the one whose skim reads 10. As I mentioned earlier, you want to be an inch wide and a mile deep. So you want to pick one thing and just go all in. So, that's how you're going to build better judgment. One framework you understand completely is, worth more than 10 than you understand just a little bit. So pick one framework and go deep. Technical analysis is what I use. That's what we talk about on the channel. That's for me what I like to do, because price action works everywhere on the chart. It works on all assets that do have a chart. So you want to learn it once and then apply it, and you can apply it to everything, right? One skill, unlimited application. That's why I like it, and that's what I did. When I started this, I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to pick technical analysis. I'm going to learn technical analysis. It's going to take a while. It's going to take time. But now it's like, okay, cool, I have a good view of how everything looks. I can now form my own opinions on something. Even if someone says, oh, have you seen this stock? And I've never heard of it, I can look at it and think, oh, okay, I think this and that because of my own skill. So the signals are objective and repeatable. That's what I love about technical analysis. A moving average crossover looks the same today as it did 10 years ago. A market structure break follows the same logic regardless of the asset. Consistency of the method is what makes analysis repeatable rather than reactive. And that's what you want to be getting to. So you stop getting influenced by every opinion. As I mentioned earlier, I can now look at anything and I can have my own opinion because I have a framework which I trust, and I can create my own context around the market. And the goal is to reach a point where your framework does the thinking. You just want to look at something and, okay, cool, I know these things because I've designed and created a framework for myself. That's the goal. That's what you want to get to. You never want to be guessing. So look, the verdict. You cannot optimize two styles at the same time. The bodybuilder who parties every night, the footballer who is also wants to be a professional bodybuilder, they don't exist. Somebody following 20 different sources, it's irrelevant. Pick, write it down. Your 5 favorite influencers online. Just watch them. If they all have different, you'll pick up on their styles. But still be open-minded. So remember, yes, you want to have your own way, but you still want to be open-minded. Too much content creates noise, not clarity. Watching videos, reading newsletters, following different things, consuming does not make better judgment. Committed to one framework and applying it repeatedly does. Pick one approach, go deep, and let the framework do the talking for you. Look, if you do want to read some pointless, mindless content, I do have a free newsletter. This is all one style. This is all thinking ahead. So look, if you do want to check that out, links that will be in the description, and I'll see you in the next one.